We're here again on Falcons Daily. I am your host, your guy CG Craig Green. If you'd like to give me a follow, you can find me on social media at Craig G Sports, CRAIG, the letter G, and the word sports. Fan Arch, who powers Falcons Daily. They are at Fan Arch Co, FANARCHCO. You can follow them on social media, as well as Underdog. We'd like to give them a huge shout out for sponsoring Falcons Daily. Their logo is right up there, bam. And you can also scan this QR code, boom, right there, if you'd like to score $75 in bonus bets when you play your first $5 on Underdog Fantasy. They've got everything, football, basketball, hockey, no matter what it is, you name it, they've got it. You can pick higher or lower on certain players with certain stats. It is really, really easy. So just use that QR code right there and you can sign up. And just like I did, again, I played $5 over the weekend, ended up winning about $15 or so on some football. I picked higher for DJ Moore, and DJ Moore went over the yard threshold. And then I picked higher for Kyron Williams on on rushing yards, and he achieved over the 55 and a half rushing yards he had to get. So, I used that $5, played that, and then all of a sudden my winnings was in my account. Pretty simple, pretty easy. And again, the QR code is right there. You can just sign up and it's real simple to get in. It'll lead you right to the app. You download it, you register, and bada bing, bada boom, you're in the game. Speaking of people who are in on things right now, Baker Mayfield in his feelings, apparently, about the relationship or lack thereof that he has with the Falcons' brand new head coach and former Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski during their time together in the mistake by the lake. So we're trying to figure out what happened here between them two. Now, if you remember, Baker was the starting quarterback for the Browns for Stefanski's first two seasons in Cleveland, 2020 and 2021. In 2020, the COVID year, the Browns went 11-5, won the AFC North Division. Of course, things seemed like they were, all peachy keen at that time. Baker was playing well. You go back to 2020, like I said, you go back to 2020, and Baker that season had threw for about 3,500 yards, 26 touchdowns, only 8 picks. So he was better than a 3-to-1 quarterback ratio or touchdown to interception ratio. The next season, not anywhere near as good. He was playing through some injuries. He did throw for over 3,000 yards, but he had 17 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. So not much of a better year. Reports coming out of, out of Cleveland as to what happened between these two. But really, all this stemmed from, what led to or actually, what did we see today that kind of got us to this point? It was actually a tweet from D. Orlando Ledbetter of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution trying to break down the Browns quarterback situation and what the Falcons have for Stefanski to work with. And he said, Falcons Kevin Stefanski hit a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. QB Shedeur Sanders closed out last season with 7 starts. And you see what Baker Mayfield had to say on top. Failed is quite the reach, pal, talking to D-Led. Still waiting on a text/call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach. So clearly, Baker was and still is in his feelings over the unceremonious end to his time with the Browns. Again, distrust was starting to kind of ramp up a little bit there, especially because of how Mayfield was playing. I think a lot of it had to do with his injury, but they said, if you're going to be out there playing injured, you got to still, do your job. In 2021, after that season, that's when Deshaun Watson ended up making his way to the Browns. Baker Mayfield requested a trade. I'm sure a lot of you remember that. Mayfield he found it on social media that was happening. And again, as you see, Baker says that Stefanski didn't even call him or text him after he left Cleveland. So that goes to show you that the relationship wasn't that tight. Doesn't say anything about Stefanski not being a player's coach or a people guy, but it tells you everything you need to know about what happened with them. Underdog, they want to make sure you're in the game. Remember, scan that QR code up there on the screen. Make sure you get that $75, okay, in bonus bets when you play your first $5. Let's look at Zach Robinson, y'all. Zach Robinson, he's most likely out, at offensive coordinator. And the reason why we say that is because just the other day, a matter of fact, on Tuesday, the Falcons did conduct an interview for the offensive coordinator job. They interviewed the Cardinals pass game coordinator and wide receivers coach Drew Terrell for the offensive coordinator position. So that came from Ian Rappaport. So he's the first guy to actually interview for the job. So we'll see. That tells me right there that either they're going to have Zach compete for the job there, or he's pretty much out. Also, Tommy Reese is one of the names that we had seen be mentioned as an offensive coordinator candidate for the Falcons under Stefanski, but right now that's the first official interview that we've seen for any player whatsoever, or any coach for that position. Arizona's offense, their pass offense was pretty good. Running the ball, not so much, but you've got Bijan Robinson, and on top of that, Stefanski is a play caller. So if they're bringing in a guy like Terrell, I wouldn't expect him to be calling plays just based on the fact that you've already got Stefanski in the house. Underdog, y'all. They want you to make sure to don't forget that the football playoffs are here. They're here right now. Underdog, it's the best place for you to get in on all the gridiron action. If you want to play an underdog, it is easy. It is super easy. Just pick if your favorite players are going to go higher or they're going to go lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and even more than that. If you get them right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at the Pro Football Conference Championships. I got my eyes on New England at Denver and LA at Seattle. I'm selecting Drake May for higher than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. I'm also selecting Matthew Stafford of LA for higher than 257.5 passing yards. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code FootballFan. It's right there in front of you. Use that promo code to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FootballFan. Underdog. Make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8 or text from 467-369.
Welcome back to Falcons Daily. We're going to keep it rolling here and look at the brand new brand new coach on Kevin Stefanski's offensive staff. That is offensive line coach Bill Callahan. Some of you longtime NFL fans may remember Bill Callahan as the head coach of the Raiders when Tampa Bay beat the Raiders in the Super Bowl. That was after the Buccaneers traded the Raiders for John Gruden. So he was the head coach back then for Oakland. He's been, my man's been around the block, and back again probably twice. Bill Callahan, a really extensive resume. He's worked with Stefanski in the past before. He was also once an assistant coach of the year by Peter King. I believe that was by Sports Illustrated. But his offensive line coaching again. That means the exit of Dwayne Ledford. And we talked about Matthew Bergeron's reaction to that. Remember, we said he saw the tweet, he retweeted it and said SMH. So again, that goes to show you what he felt about Ledford leaving again, because that's been the only coach he's known at that position. Of course, that he was drafted by the Falcons 2 years ago, now going on 3. So, but Callahan, he's got, worlds of experience. He's been around the block since, he's been out there I think since at least 30 years. He was an offensive line coach for the Eagles way back in 1995. Went back to college, won the Big 12 division championship with Nebraska. It was, he's had a long career. So, but Dwayne Ledford has been relieved of his duties. Callahan is going to take his place, and we may or may not see or hear things about Dwayne Ledford in the upcoming press conference, which will be on January 27th. It'll be next Tuesday for Kevin Stefanski, probably Matt Ryan, probably either Greg Beatles and or Arthur Blank will be at the press conference. We may or may not have a general manager, so this could be where, because they're announcing it on the 27th, I kind of, in a way, either think that they're going to try to either fill out his staff a little bit more, A, B, they have they have their eyes set on someone for general manager, or C, all of the above. So we'll find out on January 27th. I don't think the time is set just yet, so keep your eyes on that. If it's any indication from the last couple of press conferences, the end of season, and the Matt Ryan, president of football pressers, this one will probably be sometime in the morning, right around 10 or 11 o'clock. But once we find out, we'll let you know. Just in case you don't know, then you will know. All right, everybody, we're going to call it a day. Y'all have a fantastic Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday. Sayonara and buenos noches.